There is a question that life asks every one of us every single day. When something goes wrong, do you break? When something goes right, do you lose yourself? What if the greatest wisdom a person could carry was simply this? I do not yet know. Long ago, at the foot of the Harvey Hills in the heart of India, there was a small village. Golden wheat fields stretched to the horizon. Mango trees lined the river's edge. And the air carried the smell of earth and patience. In this village lived a farmer. Not rich. Not powerful. Just a man, his wife, his son, a piece of land, and a horse more beautiful than anything else he owned. What made this farmer different was not what he owned. When the rains didn't come, he did not curse the sky. When the harvest was full, he did not boast to his neighbors. Through every season, he would only say, "Who knows what is good and what is bad? Only time will tell. Be patient, be thankful, and keep your faith strong." The villagers thought he was strange. Some even called him a fool. One day, a wealthy merchant came to the village. He had heard of the farmer's magnificent horse, tall, powerful, with a coat that gleamed like dark silk. He offered a sack heavy with gold coins. Enough to feed the family for years. The villagers gasped. He would be a fool to refuse. But the farmer gently shook his head. "This horse is family. He is not for sale." The merchant laughed. And the village buzzed with ridicule. A few mornings later, the son walked to the stable. It was empty. The rope lay on the ground. The horse was gone. They searched the fields, the riverbank, the edges of the forest. Nothing. The villagers shook their heads. "We told him so. He had his chance. Now he has nothing." That evening, his son sat beside him, heartbroken, and asked, "Father, how can you be so calm?" The farmer placed his hand gently on his son's shoulder. "My son, what looks like a loss today may not be a loss tomorrow. Do not be so quick to call this a disaster. There is good and bad in everything. Only time can reveal the true nature of what happens to us." The son did not fully understand. But he trusted his father, and tried to be patient. Then one morning, as mist still lay over the fields, the son heard hooves. He ran outside, and froze. There was the horse, and behind him, 5 wild stallions, untamed, magnificent, eyes blazing with fire. He had found a herd in the forest, and brought them home. The same villagers who had called the farmer a fool, now called him the luckiest man alive. Eager and excited, the son climbed onto one of the wild stallions the very next day. The horse threw him. There was a crack that echoed across the yard. His leg was broken in 2 places. Once again, the village whispered, "Those wild horses brought nothing but trouble." His greed has cost his son dearly. Lying in pain, the son looked at his father and asked, "Was this also meant to happen?" The farmer sat beside him, calm as always, and said, "The same rain that floods the valley nourishes the forest. Do not judge this moment either. Only time will tell. Be patient, be thankful, and keep your faith strong." 2 weeks later, the sound of drums shook the village. The king's soldiers rode in with a royal decree. War had broken out on the northern border. Every able-bodied young man was to be taken into the army. Immediately. No exceptions. Mothers wailed. Fathers stood in silence. One by one, the young men of the village were led away. When the soldiers reached the farmer's door, they saw the son, his leg bound in splints, lying on his cot. They shook their heads and moved on. "This one is of no use to us." And just like that, the broken leg that had seemed like a curse had become the very thing that saved his life. Months passed. The war was brutal. When it finally ended, news returned to the village like a slow, heavy fog. Of the 23 young men who had been taken, only 9 came home. The rest had perished on the battlefield. Families that had once mocked the farmer now wept for sons they would never see again. And there sat the son, alive and healing, beside his father under the old neem tree. The horse grazed peacefully in the field. The 5 wild horses, now tamed, helped the family work twice the land they once could. That evening the son looked at his father with entirely new eyes. "You were right all along, father. Every time I thought the world was ending, it was only beginning something new." The farmer nodded slowly, and spoke the greatest truth he had ever shared. "My son, never celebrate too quickly, and never grieve too deeply. Life is like a river. It bends and turns, and you cannot see what lies ahead. What looks like a flood today may water the fields of tomorrow. We are never wise enough to judge what life gives us in the moment it arrives." This story teaches us 3 things we can carry into our own lives. First, stop judging every moment the instant it arrives. Give life the time to show its full picture. Second, trust the process. A road you cannot see still leads somewhere. And third, stay steady. In the good times, stay humble. In the hard times, stay hopeful. Balance is the heart of inner peace. Think about your own life for a moment. Has something that felt like a loss ever quietly become a gift? Share it in the comments. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. Be patient. Be thankful.